Hi! So today we're gonna make a basic lasagna. It's gonna be a chicken lasagna with homemade lasagna sauce, a homemade bechamel, and a homemade very own pasta dough. Let me shut up and let's start. I have some all-purpose flour, 3 egg yolks, 2 whole eggs, and some olive oil. So first, we're gonna add in the flour. And make a well in the center and add in my yolk. We're going to mix it slowly, incorporating the flour inside. So once it looks like this, I'm going to crack in 1 egg and I'm going to start beating that inside the dough. You can use a fork if you want. The amount of eggs depends totally on the texture of the flour. If you use more flour, go ahead and use a little more eggs. I'm going to make a smooth dough, but it's going to be a firm dough, not a very soft dough. Now we're going to add in some olive oil. Not too much, just a little bit. So now we cover the dough and let it sit for 30 minutes, and the dough will get enough time to rehydrate itself and the gluten bonds will start to develop. So now we're going to cut the dough into 4 parts. I'm going to cut it into 1/2 that I'm going to leave it for a different recipe. I'll use these 2. So I'm going to cover this with a cling wrap and let it rest. I'm using the same one I used before. So now with the other 2 doughs, we're gonna start rolling out the dough as thin as we can. I have a huge pot that is salted. It's as salty as the Mediterranean Sea. I'm gonna roll this out really thin. So my dough is really thin. You can faintly see my fingers if I put it down. So that's how thin I want the dough to be. If you have a pasta roller, you can use your pasta roller to roll it out. I don't have one, so I'm gonna do it by hand. So now I'm gonna cut it. Don't just cut off too much. Don't need to. Okay. Just trim it a little. It's anyways not going to be shown later on. So I'm gonna make more pasta sheets and then we will proceed to the next step. So I have a pot of boiling water that is already salted. I'm gonna drop in my lasagna sheets in. I'm gonna let it cook for exactly like 30 seconds to a minute until it just starts to float on the top. So it's almost already floating on top. We don't have to let it cook completely because it's gonna cook more in the oven. So now I'm gonna quickly put it into the sieve I have with some cold water in it. So I'm gonna cook all of my sheets and take them separately. So I'm just gonna remove the core and just give it a couple like that and drop it inside the water. We're gonna let it sit for about 30 minutes or until the skin starts peeling off the tomatoes. And we're gonna put it inside cold water or room temperature water. So first, let's start with the lasagna base sauce. Now we're gonna make the base chicken sauce for the lasagna. I'm starting with the blanched tomatoes that I've pureed here. I have some chopped garlic, some diced carrots, some chopped celery, chopped onions, minced chicken, some Italian seasoning along with some pepper flakes. Have some olive oil, salt and pepper. And we will add a little bit of sugar depending on the taste of the tomatoes later on. So I'm gonna add in some olive oil. A good amount of olive oil. We're gonna add in the chicken, the minced chicken. We're gonna break it up as much as we can. Now to this, garlic, my onion, and my celery. Salt, a little more olive oil. Carrots, seasoning, now we're gonna add in the tomato puree. And a little bit of water. And now we let it cook for at least 10 to 15 minutes. So now we're going to make a basic bechamel and we're going to turn it into a Mornay sauce for the lasagna. Instead of butter, I'm using olive oil.